Hi everyone, welcome to the Whiteleyverse with me, Connor Whiteley, for another daily short story. Now, before I start today's story, please remember to like, comment and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new content, and the engagement really helps the Whiteleyverse with the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you want to buy this short story and any of my other fiction, then they're available from all major ebook retailers and at your local bookstore and local library if you requested, and you can order paperback copies from Amazon. Now, here's today's short story. I hope you enjoyed just as much as I did writing it.
Converting ALIFE. Marianne Jason just looked in utter horror at Sean as he laid on the dirty single bed in front of her. The white bedsheets were yellow with pus, sweat, and other signs of disease that oozed from every pore. She wiped his sweaty forehead with a damp cloth, but it was useless. Sean shook uncontrollably. His handsome face was covered in grease, sweat, and more pus than she wanted to admit. She couldn't understand what had gone so wrong with her treatment. Sean tried to reach for her hand with his pox-ridden hands and arms, but his bright sapphire eyes were closed shut with various infections. Marianne wanted to reach out, touch him and tell him that everything was going to be okay, but she didn't want to lie to him. He was such a kind, helpful and brilliant young man. When he had first come to her, he was wearing a dirty business suit. His long blonde curls framed his handsome face perfectly and his eyes were so kind. He looked so much better than her dirty black dress, and cuts and grazes that covered her arms and legs. She didn't want him to die tonight, or any day. The small single bedroom smelt awful with strong choking hints of sweat, urine and rotting flesh. She had tried to stop the spread of the infection as best she could, but it was useless. Most of Sean's lean legs were rotten, his blood was thick and black and his entire body was dying before her eyes. She had gotten rid of all the fluffy blue carpet last week, after black mold had started to grow on it. The sheer amount of sweat, pus and other signs of disease made it the perfect breeding ground for harmful pathogens that only wanted to kill all life. The dirty white walls were covered in black fluffy mold that seemed to have tendrils that swirled, twirled and whirled around each other. They were constantly stretching out and wanting to grab onto another victim. She hated living in Hell's Place at times. The strange former council estate where people died, went missing, and other weird and twisted things happened every day without a second thought. She didn't doubt sooner or later she would have to move again. Another move, another house and another secret base of operations where she could do her demonic research. She had to find a cure, and a way to kill demons forever. It was the only way to keep people safe, but Sean was a distraction as much as she loved him as a patient. Marianne dipped the wet cloth in a metal bucket full of ice-cold water. It was the best she could come up with to help slow the fever, even though it was next to useless. All the plants, all the human medicine and all the various supernatural elements she had tried on Sean weren't working. Or if they worked at all, it was only for the briefest of moments. Marianne brushed the wet cloth on his pox-ridden arms and hands again, just hoping the cleaning of his wounds would actually do something, but she knew it wouldn't. She didn't have time for this. She had grander projects to work on, she had lives to save and she had to defeat Edward Hales. Edward Hales, the twisted, evil monster who was a lord from the 1800s, who owned the land that Hell's Place was built on. Edward had formed a demonic pact so he could gain eternal life as long as he kept killing innocent people, and Edward had made her into a demon to cure her illness. Marianne gripped the wet cloth so tight her knuckles turned white. Water gushed out of the cloth. She hated the damn memory. She had slaughtered her entire family because of Edward's control over her. Even though she had badly injured him, escaped his control, and wanted to get revenge, she still couldn't get over the screams of her family as she slaughtered them. The very people she was meant to protect as a wife and mother were dead because of her, and Edward. That's why Edward Hales had to die. "I'm going to die, aren't I?" Sean said. Marianne frowned and looked down at the small black medical bag she had. There were so many herbs, medicines and different compounds she had collected over the years, but she had already tried all of them. She had already rubbed aloe vera into the wounds to heal his skin, soothe the pox-like burns and support his digestive health so Sean could actually eat something for a change. It hadn't worked. When Sean had complained of muscle problems and joint pain, she had made him eat ginger and basil because they were rich in antioxidants, anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial properties. Again, nothing had worked. She had even tried milk thistle to keep his liver functioning and to detox his entire body, but it was pointless. His disease adapted itself against the medicine in short order. "Maybe," Marianne said. "I'm sorry, Sean. I love you. You were a brilliant friend." It was only now Marianne realized that she was speaking the truth. Sean had only been with her for a few weeks, but he was fascinating. He had studied biology at Kent University, and he really wanted to help people. Marianne smiled at all the wonderful late-night conversations. It was like she had found a lost part of herself in Sean. Someone just as passionate about biology, defeating Edward Hales and making the world a better place. It was even better that Edward had also killed Sean's boyfriend and parents and extended family, so he was just as motivated, determined and relentless in ending Edward as she was. Sean coughed up blood, he hissed in pain, and Marianne searched through her medical bag again. There was nothing else she could try, and even Sean's blood work wasn't giving her much to work with. She might not have been a biologist by trade, but becoming a demon, wanting to kill Edward and wanting to save lives certainly helped her learn. Maybe that's what she needed to give Sean. A chance to become a demon. The foul hints of rotting flesh, pus and disease assaulted her senses that the toxic air was immensely heavy. Each breath was harder than the last one, and Marianne bit her lower lip. She knew how to make demons. She wouldn't have been a very good biologist if she didn't know the biological mechanism of becoming a demon. All she needed to do was infect Sean with some of her blood, and then the demon physiological processes would rip through Sean, banish all disease from his body, and he wouldn't be human anymore. Instead, he would be an immortal demon. A creature that wouldn't age, wouldn't die and wouldn't experience disease ever again. Yet she couldn't do that to him. She hated being a demon. She hated the bloodlust, the suffering and the drive to kill innocent people that even now she had to battle every single day just to survive. She wasn't sure if she wanted Sean to go through that agony. "You did your best," Sean said, trying to open his eyes but failing. "You were amazing, and you know he comes whenever someone dies." Marianne's stomach churned, a chill ran down her spine and she shook her head. He was right. Edward Hales would be drawn to her location if Sean died, and then she would have to flee, fight and escape all over again. She had only managed to escape last time, because of a potion she no longer had. She couldn't take on Edward again and survive. Sean coughed up more blood, sweat poured off him and the sores around his eyes popped like a balloon. He screamed out in agony. Marianne grabbed his hands and the pox-like wounds shrieked in despair at her demonic touch. "How badly do you want to defeat Edward Hales?" Marianne asked, rubbing the raw wounds on his hands. Sean's bright sapphire eyes looked straight at Marianne. He nodded and grinned. "More than anything else in the world. Edward Hales must die. We have to stop him. I can make you a demon. Edward cannot touch you, your mind, and cannot influence you in any way. You'll be immune to his touch like I am." Sean tried to get up, but he only splattered up more blood. "But you will never age, never die, and you will never experience a normal life." Sean bit his lower lip. "That doesn't matter. Edward stole my chance at a normal life when he killed my boyfriend, my parents and my entire family. He has to die. Make me a demon." Marianne exposed Sean's pox-covered neck with her fingers. Her stomach churned and she wanted to be sick. Not because she didn't want to save brilliant Sean, but because she was about to betray every single moral fiber in her body. She was going to create something she despised, she wanted to kill, and she wanted to purge from the world. Sean's eyes went a bit dimmer, his breathing slowed down and his body went weak. Marianne sat on the bed, exposed his neck and she chomped on it. Her fangs dug into his flesh. The fangs injected raw blood into his body. Sean screamed in crippling pain. All his sores exploded. Pus and other infectious liquids splattered over the walls, ceiling, and floor. Sean's eyes glowed bright sapphire like they were blue raging infernos. His nails became like talons. His teeth became fangs. His hair became longer, thicker, and dyed sapphire blue. Sean roared like a wolf, screamed like a child, and his body stretched and went still. Marianne hugged his perfectly healthy body in her arms. She ran a hand through his long sapphire hair, and she kissed him on his perfectly dry forehead. His inferno eyes flickered open, he smiled and he hugged her back. "I'm cured. Thank you. Thank you so much," Sean said. Marianne kept hugging him.
"Now we have a lot of work to do, because we have to defeat Edward Hales."
"Definitely." And as Marianne kept hugging Sean, answering his questions about becoming a demon and how living as a demon worked, she couldn't help wondering why Edward had created Sean's disease in the first place. Everything in Hell's Place happened because Edward willed it. Sean, the disease, and allowing Sean to find her, that was all planned. So whilst finding out the answer was certainly tomorrow's problem, it was still a problem nonetheless. But today she was going to comfort, support, and enjoy spending time with her latest creation, friend, and most importantly, research assistant. All in an effort to defeat Edward Hales.
Welcome back everyone, it's me again, Connor Whiteley. So I really hope that you enjoyed today's story, because I flat out love writing, creating stories and sharing them with you. If you really enjoyed today's story, then please remember to like, comment and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new content, and the engagement really helps the Whiteleyverse with the YouTube algorithms. And if you want to buy this short story or any of my other fiction, then they're available from all major ebook retailers, and you can get them from your local library if you requested, and you can order the paperback copies from Amazon, your local bookstore or local library if you request it. Lastly, if you want to support the channel on a one-off basis, then you can now buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Connor Whiteley. Also, if you know anyone who would enjoy today's story, then please share it with them. I'm always really grateful when you wonderful people help spread the word about the channel. So, thanks for watching the Whiteleyverse, and I'll see you again soon. Have a great day, everyone.